The Amos Rehabilitation Keep in Port Aransas still needs volunteers to help their turtles and birds nearly a year after Hurricane Harvey. Our Taylor Alanis followed some around to see how donating their time to wounded animals has changed their lives.
It's feeding time at the Amos Rehabilitation Keep at the UT Marine Science Center. And boy, are these critters hungry. Dee Dee Collard says caring for endangered animals has brought so much happiness to her life.
I am a pediatric nurse, and so I've always had a passion for young things that are hurting.
Collard has been volunteering at the Ark for 3 years.
It's an opportunity to actually do something instead of just being on Facebook talking about all the stuff that needs to be done.
Art directors say Hurricane Harvey was not only a hit to the center's infrastructure.
About 80% of the Ark was damaged.
It also affected their volunteer-based workforce.
Some of them had to move after the hurricane or spend a lot of time recovering themselves. We did lose some of them, unfortunately.
And now they need more help, especially since they have more pelicans visiting than normal.
So we're looking for volunteers that are willing to dedicate their time and energy to be able to do something that is very rewarding.
Collard says she loves teaching children to not only help animals, but keep their environment clean.
Then I know that I am encouraging the next generation, so when I'm gone, there will be others that follow. That's the reward for me.
Volunteers can directly work with the animals, like feeding and cleaning their habitats, help out with the famous sea turtle release, and be a part of outreach events. Not to mention, they can even have the chance to do some research work.
Come spend a day with us and share the joy.
Taylor Alanis, 3 News.
And the next volunteer group orientation is August 30th. For more information on how to register, you can call the number on your screen or just head to our website, KIIITV.com.